Hey everybody, and welcome to Trailering Behind. My name is Skip, and I really love old campers, amongst a whole bunch of other stuff that takes too much time. Today I thought I would show everybody my newest acquisition. It's a 1979 Boler Travel trailer. It's a small fiberglass trailer that's 13 feet long, from the tip of the frame to the back axle. This trailer, it's seen some better days. It's probably sat for the last 10 years. And I'm making this video to show everybody kind of the condition that these trailers can be in and what you can do to fix them up. I'm going to go through today, and I'm going to just kind of document all the things that I notice that are wrong with this trailer and the things that I'm probably going to end up having to fix. This one, as I said, has probably sat for over 10 years, and someone did try and do some work to it, but that mainly consisted of pulling a bunch of parts off and then filling it up with material that is not good to do body work over top of. They've taken a lot of it apart, and I'm going to kind of go through today and just document all the things that I see that need some work on this trailer. But I do love these trailers, and I've refinished a few of them. More just kind of fix them up. I don't have a professional shop. I do all my own work here in my backyard. And I own a Trillium of my own, and I have another yellow Scamp that I'm working on here in the backyard right now. So this is, I believe, a 1984 Scamp, and she's come along quite nicely. When I picked her up, she was not in the beautiful shape that she's in now, but I have cleaned her up and worked on the fiberglass quite a bit and replaced some windows, and I'm slowly working to bring this one along. Maybe at some other video I will go through and show the progress of that trailer. But back to the 1979 Boler. This trailer, this year was kind of a unique year for Bolers, where you can see this small back window that has the two tiny jalousie windows and the two side up and down ones. Normally that is all straight windows that go straight across, but this year happened to have those shortened with a different style of window, and at the back of the trailer for this year, limited run, they actually had a sliding back window. Now, normally these trailers just have a single window at the back, much like I will show later on with the Scamp trailers. Now, Scamp trailers actually started from Boler, which started in the late 60s in Canada, and the Bolers were produced in Canada and in Ontario, eventually migrated over to the States, and then eventually became Scamp trailers. This trailer, as I said, is in pretty rough shape. Besides being dirty and needing a really good power wash, she's got some problems that she's showing. I towed it home for about 8 hours. I had a different set of wheels on it for that, but it towed just fine, and it handled bumps really well. So I think I'll just show some of the stuff that I've noticed about the trailer to this point, and I'm sure I'm going to be discovering more the deeper I get into the trailer. So the most obvious thing that's visible to everybody are these kind of orange fill-in areas wherever there were screw holes in the trailer, and unfortunately this is a rubber-like material. It is not bodywork material or fiberglass, even though it's got that orange kind of color of spot putty. It's actually rubber, so all that's going to have to be scraped off. All the exterior light, the rail that goes along the top of the trailer to hold an awning, the rain guard here, all of those things have been removed from the trailer. Going further around the body's in relatively good shape, but it will definitely need some work. As I move around here, we start to see that there's a couple of big dings in the fiberglass. The trailer was probably backed into a couple of things. It might be hard to see on the video, but there's lots of spider cracks going through the gel coat here, and they continue on down here at the bottom of the trailer. You can see the spider cracks here, and it just looks like the trailer has probably been backed into a couple of things just to kind of do that. Now you can also notice that there's lots of cracks around the windows, which means that there might be some flexing that's going on here, so we'll have to check that out. Probably because many of the interior parts have been removed from this trailer, and so it loses its support when things like the support rod by the sink and the upper cabinets are removed. So you can actually see there's a really large crack going through here. And there's your standard kind of cracks that are going through the fiberglass around the door. And you'll usually see them well around the hinges. So you can see the spider cracks here. The hinges actually look in great shape. It looks at some point somebody pulled these off, cleaned them up, and then put new bolts in them, which is kind of a bonus because those are always really hard to deal with. You can also see the door hang is a little bit weird on this trailer. So with these fiberglass trailers, you often notice that the door does not sit properly. Since it's a curved door and it has those special hinges that will actually pull the door away from the trailer first before it closes so that it can match the curve. This trailer has some problems with the upper curve where the trailer has started to work away from the door a little bit. So you can see over there that the door is actually out a bit. And you can see the gap down at the bottom by the door here where the trailer has started to open up a little bit. The door is starting to swing out from the trailer. A lot of times this is caused because water will get into the door and work down and sit in the bottom of the trailer door because it's actually a hollow door depending on the year. And the weight of that will actually start to pull that door away from the trailer. This one closes okay, and it actually sits pretty darn straight in the doorway, which is really nice because a lot of times they're really cantered to an angle. Unfortunately, the door handle is broke on these, and these Bargeman door handles are almost impossible to get. Luckily, there's a couple places here in Canada, and there's Camping Treasures that actually sells a replacement kit where you can drill out the old and cut out the old handle and put a brand new contemporary door lock in there. So that's about it for the outside. When we're looking down at the trailer here, we can see that that wheel is traveling very closely to the frame. It's really tight in there and really snug. These are 13-inch tires, and originally I believe these came with 12-inch tires. On the back, the one taillight has disappeared and somebody has put in a square taillight in its place. That's really unfortunate because these wedding cake style taillights are often really difficult to find. So I might have to replace those with LEDs. At the back window, you can see this purplish covering that's on there is all peeling off. But the fiberglass itself has actually started to crack a little bit, and it's just starting to star crack from being exposed probably to so much sun. So those will probably have to be replaced. Moving further along to this side, the windows themselves, they look in fair condition. It doesn't look like any of the parts are missing. It does look like someone tried to seal up some of the holes that used to be here, and this rubber has probably shrunk back, and that's what's opening up here, and that will unfortunately allow for moisture to get down and into the trailer. So that's a concern. All the panels seem to be there, which is good for the fridge and the fridge venting, so the access to the fridge. And that's about it. Someone took the propane tank off of these, but the platform is still there and it looks solid. And up at the top, it's really kind of hard to see without being set up, but the roof vent itself has broken off, and it was sitting for a while with that roof vent off of the trailer, so there was probably moisture getting in there for a couple of months, the previous owners told me. So that's going to be something that I'm going to have to look into. I can replace that, but looking on the inside for damage that might be related to that. Luckily, this trailer still seems to have a solid floor. I was inside crawling around in there, and it feels solid all the way through. So I think what I'll do is I will move to the inside of the trailer next. Okay, so I'm about to go back into the trailer now, and since I've now since opened up the rock guard, which I'm lucky enough is actually on the trailer, which will allow some light to come in. A lot of times these are gone and they're very hard to replace to find the original ones. One thing I didn't mention when I was going around the trailer was the frame, and trailer frames are really interesting things. These frames have been around a long time, and often these trailers are parked in areas where you're going to end up seeing lots of moisture underneath them, and that moisture will rise up and often cause some severe problems with the frame. Eventually, at some point, I will pull this trailer off of the frame, and I will take a look and see if I can see any places where it's cracked. It's not really easy to be able to find those without taking the shell off of the frame, because often those cracks will appear between the actual shell of the frame and the trailer. So there's a couple of things, and there's a couple of troubled areas to look at for those. But we'll get into that maybe in a later video when I actually pull the trailer off. Right now we're going to take a look inside, and I'm going to do this in two parts. I'll show you kind of, this is the state the trailer was in when I purchased it. And it's not necessarily the prettiest thing on the inside. She's looking pretty rough. You can see that the floor shows lots of evidence of, there's a lot of grime in there. And you can see that the trailer's been kind of pulled apart on the inside. That's one of the upper shelf brackets that goes over top of that window. You can still see the negative space of where that was. You can see the space there that's kind of that cleanish off-white where the upper cabinet used to be. And that would normally have a bracket that's hanging down and attached between the trailer, and that is that bracket right there. And that supports the trailer and keeps it from collapsing on the side when you get heavy loads in there, as well as keeping the trailer and the shell from moving around too much, because basically it's a big egg and it can kind of flex and bend. If we go a little bit deeper into the trailer, we can see this is kind of how it is. The back wall has lots of mildew on it. It's really dirty in here and it needs quite a good cleaning. You can see where the upper vent was, and it looks like it was actually a vent with a fan in it, but it was obviously getting some stuff in it from all the leaves. The old furnace is right there along with the old stove and sink. So we'll take a look at what the inside of the fridge looks like. I'm lucky with this trailer because you can see that this is actually a front dinette model as well, so there's space that you can build a small table up there at the front, which eventually I will do. But that's kind of just how it looks on the inside right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop recording and I'm going to pull all this stuff out so that we can go into a little bit of a deeper look at what the condition of the interior of this trailer is like, and just take a look at some of the features and some of the problems that I see in here that I'm going to have to eventually deal with. Okay, I now have the trailer cleared out of all the stuff that was on the inside. Here's everything that came out of the trailer over here, and I was really quite surprised how much is here. I would say most of everything I need for this trailer is here. The trailer didn't come with any cushions. That's actually a piece of wood that goes on the back cushion to flip up to become a bunk bed in the trailer. Often, if the cushions are gone, that's gone with it, so it's actually amazing that that's here. Cushions are the kind of weak spot of buying old trailers. They're almost always in rough condition. There is space for animals to get into these trailers. They usually have holes in them, and just the general wear and tear over the years causes the cushions to degrade to the point where they can't be used. If they've had moisture in them, they either need a thorough cleaning or they need to be replaced. It was nice that that back cushion piece is there, because then I don't have to cut a new template for it. Also, all the hatch covers are right there, as well as the hatch cover for the central dinette. And I'll put all these things back in and show you kind of where those all go. The actual rail was inside, which was incredible to find that. That is the awning rail, where all of those holes, the orange ones and that line across the top, that's where that goes. We have the original bunk supports were on the inside, so those two rods are used to support this bunk bed when it's up. The original table and fold-down table is there, as well as the propane tank latches are there. So that's pretty incredible to find those, because those are really hard to come by. You can see this black bracket. That's the bracket that connects from the bottom cabinet up to this upper cabinet to provide support on that side of the trailer. I'm going to have to prop this up because I probably won't be able to get that much work done on this before winter, and you really don't want a lot of snow on your roof without any support on there. So I'm going to prop this up for the winter to make sure that it's properly supported. You can also see that is that upper cabinet. None of the cabinet doors are here, but that's okay. It's not a big deal to actually make new cabinet doors. They're not hard to pattern out. And the cabinet doors, though, on the inside are still there, the ones that are still attached, so that's great. These ones might not even, no, they had cabinet doors on them, but I think I have patterns from an old trailer for that. I also have the old vent hood, which actually had a fan and power. We'll decide and see later if we're going to put that back in, clean it up, or just leave the space. The nice thing about that vent is it does provide venting to the outside of the trailer when you are cooking, so that actually exits out through that vent right there. And it's actually really nice to have that, to be pulling that heat out of the trailer, especially in the summer. So you can actually see a lot of these kind of red spots. Those are used to either hold curtain rods in, or to hold, these ones I think in particular are to hold the upper cabinets in place. So that is for those two cabinets right there. So let's go inside and take a look. I haven't done any cleaning. I literally just pulled everything out and set it up. So going inside, we can see the standard 13-inch Boler. 13-foot Boler. You can see that's the front bench, and normally that would be covered up to have a seat on top of it so that this becomes a front bench seat and a bunk, and that piece of wood would actually hang off here on these hinges, which amazingly enough are still here, to flip up, and then that bunk piece flips up to here, and it makes a bunk bed here. This window is actually in really good condition, probably because it was covered over, and there's really not signs of leaking for this front window at least, which is kind of amazing. The plexiglass looks in good condition, and it looks like it's not starred or cracked or anything. You can see that there was hydro going to probably lights in these upper cupboards that were here, and this is where that other upper cupboard here would be with that support right here. This is your standard kind of stove. I just placed it in there so that I could show it. Who knows if that's going to work again. I might replace that with a contemporary stove. This is the sink, and that has a hand pump for water as well as one for city water, but it does look like the hand pump probably was an electric pump because there is no handle there, and there is a tank underneath the Boler for tanked water that would pump out of. That's for city water that would be hooked up. As we move around to the back of the trailer, I know that black or that dark looks bad, but that will probably clean up and go back to almost perfect white, though I will probably end up painting the interior of all the Ensolite to this material that's on the trailer. I've had lots of opportunities in the past to buy trailers that don't have this material in it, and I always shy away from it because if at all costs, always try and keep the Ensolite in the trailers because it's so hard to replace. Gluing onto a curved surface, and this material is rather unique in the fact that it both provides insulation as well as gives a surface that's pretty darn durable. In here you can see that the original T-molding has been taken out. So this actually is our slots for T-molding. This white molding here that goes in the trailer. This often will fall out, or over time it will wrinkle. So most of the T-molding has come out of this trailer. There's a couple of little pieces left. The nice thing is that you can buy brand new T-molding and put it in there and replace it. So after I paint, I actually like having the T-molding in there, though it can actually be filled in with like a latex caulking. Smoothed over those lines, you remove the piece of plastic that holds the T-molding, fill it in, and you can actually texture it and make the lines almost completely go away. Here we can see where that other upper shelf was hanging. This was kind of a deluxe Boler, or at least in the 13, or just the fact that it was a later one. There are some options here that you don't usually find in the older trailers. This one has a garbage pail right there down in the corner. The windows themselves, like I said, these are very unique windows. They're not in all Bolers. They were only really in, I believe, this year, but they open and close just fine. You can see that this, I believe, is all glass, so that will clean up just fine. On both sides, I said fiberglass earlier on in the video, that will clean up, but this plexiglass is probably going to have to be replaced. This is just some privacy film that someone's put over, but you can see the starring in this plexiglass, so I'm going to have to see if I can replace that. Besides that, I'm standing in the area where the table and would be set up for eating, and then drops down into that bed. It's kind of like a super single bed, and it's quite comfortable. Two people can sleep on it pretty well as long as one person doesn't roll around a lot. Besides that, in here we see we've got the original breaker for the trailer and the shore power. There is a 12-volt converter in there, which I will probably take out because it looks like most of the wiring's been cut out of this trailer, so who knows what's still working. This is the old furnace. The only thing that was missing in the trailer that I really noticed was this furnace covering. And that's really too bad, because often these furnaces can be started up again if they're cleaned up and serviced properly. You can often get them going again. Most of the handles are still here, which is really nice because it's really kind of hard to find the original cabinet hardware for these. This is the fridge, and I have not opened it yet, so I don't know what it's going to look like in here when I do. Surprisingly, not horrible. Both the grates are missing that hang in between. That can be replaced with some sheets of glass or plexiglass. We will actually see if this is going to fire back up eventually. It's amazing, they often will come back up again. The other thing that was really missing was this, and that is just the drawer here, your cutlery drawer. I can figure out how to make something for that. But that's basically about it for the interior. You can see that even here in these front bunks, there is not a lot of evidence of moisture up there. I know it's dirty and I know it's grungy, but it's not wet and it's not showing a lot of moisture wetness. Like even the bolts that hold the trailer to the frame aren't rusted out as bad as many that I have seen before. The floor itself will probably surprisingly come back, but this looks like there's a lot of glue on the floor from someone probably had a piece of linoleum or some carpet glued down here. So that glue will be really hard to replace, so I will probably end up just putting a new floor right over top of that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put all the stuff back in its proper place, and we can see kind of what this trailer condition is in general with everything in its place. Okay, well, she's kind of back together, all she's going to get together right now. You can see when I have that French bench set up with how that would actually make the couch area right here. And the cover, and eventually when I do redo this trailer, I will lift that, I will make this into a table that drops down so you can have seating on either side, and I'll have a split cushion so that one cushion could come out of the way, and then this would become a bed. And then what you can also do is this whole section actually flips up here and goes across, and that makes a bunk bed, and that bunk bed could handle a small child, though I've been up on them before and it handles my weight fine as long as everything is fully supported. As we move through here, you can see and probably just imagine that that section there would pop up and actually move up towards the ceiling, and that would be that upper section with the support rod on that side. The little flip-up table here that's not always there on all trailers, but maybe in these later ones, just to give you that little bit of extra counter space. And then moving back in here, the table is set back up again, and you can actually imagine kind of what that would be like, though it might be a little bit scary to imagine it right now. But there is space for the dinette for you to sit, and you can sit 4 people comfortably, play some games around there, eat dinner, etc. And that's about it. So that's the first initial tour. I will be going further through this trailer, and as I start to change things on the inside, first thing that it's going to get is a really good clean, because I usually find that through cleaning you find stuff that you might have missed otherwise. So I will scrub all the walls down, scrub the floor, give the outside a power wash as soon as I have some good weather here in Ontario to do so, and I will show kind of what the transformation is like at that point, and then I will figure out how I'm going to move forward and what I will start with first. It will be a cute little trailer. They're great trailers for a small family. I love traveling with mine. I've been in my Trillium, which is very similar but a different company, all the way out to the East Coast, to Maine, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Quebec, and spent over 20 days in it, and it was a comfortable experience with me and a friend. So that's it for today. I will try and keep everybody updated on the progress as I continue to do my modifications, changes, and start to fix up this beautiful 1980 Boler Travel trailer.